Hey guys, Brett Weiss here. Welcome to another video. Very briefly today, I thought I would talk about the last interaction I had in person with Pat and Ian of the CU podcast. I saw them last year at the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo. It was an amazing show and an incredible venue, the Cradle of Aviation Museum. I mean, you're walking around with vintage arcade games, with all kinds of cool console stuff for sale, and this amazing history of airplanes and spacecraft. It was awesome. It was a great show. The coordinators, the convention promoters were super incredibly hospitable towards the guests. It was amazing. We had hot meals at every turn. They catered to us right and left. It was an amazing show. I was a guest there with John Riggs, with Pat and Ian, with Leonard Herman, the father of video game history, and with several other guests, including Jeremy Parrish. Well, John Riggs was set up beside me, and then next to me on the other side was Leonard Herman, and then Pat and Ian. We all had books for sale. John Riggs sold a bunch of his cereal books. I sold a ton of books. Yeah, John Riggs is an expert on cereal. Pretty cool. You guys probably know that. And Leonard Herman sold a bunch of his books. Pat sold a bunch of his books. We all sold a ton of books. It was a great show for the guests, for the vendors, for the attendees, just amazing. And I did speak to Pat and Ian briefly. The last few years, they have been trashing me on their podcast and on their YouTube channel, and you can find all of that at brettweisswords.com. I wrote an entire essay on it to give my side of the story and to rebut a lot of things they've been saying about me. So read that at brettweisswords.com, and I will leave a link here. But very briefly on this video, I want to speak to our most recent interaction. Now, even though they have been trashing me and saying horrible things, I realize that I'm a professional and that I've been doing this for a very long time, and that I need to stay above the board. So at the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo, as I've done at other shows, I tried to be polite, I tried to be civilized, and I spoke to Pat briefly. I saw him standing there and I said, hey, have you done this show before? I said, is this your first time to do this show? I think that's what I said. And he goes, no, it's not. He said, like in 2019, he did it and he loved it. He thought it was one of the best shows he'd ever done. The main convention promoter was nearby, and yeah, we spoke a little bit, and that was pretty much it. And like I said, I tried to, I just spoke to Pat. I just figured that was the right thing to do. Didn't want to bring any drama. I'm not a drama guy. I'm not a guy that likes to have enemies. I just like to, be civil and maybe make the world a little bit better place along the way. Whatever. I spoke to Ian as well. He was sitting there behind his table when I spoke to him. I walked by. And it's awkward if you just don't speak to, if you're all guests at the show and you just go out of your way not to speak to them. Now, I've done that before. I've walked by their table plenty of times at shows and not spoken to them because they obviously don't like me very much. But I tried to be polite at the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo because we were set up very close to each other, and we have mutual friends there in Riggs and Leonard Herman, and it was pretty unavoidable. But I just tried to be as polite as I could. I complimented Ian on having a hoodie at the show. I was very cold. I forgot to bring a jacket or something to wear. Sometimes when I do shows, I forget to account for the weather and especially the temperature inside convention venues. It can vary greatly. Sometimes gaming cons will get very warm because of all the arcade machines and because of all the humans milling about. But sometimes they can get very cold because the venue will blast the air conditioners to account for all these people and all this hot equipment, all these machines. And it was chilly at the Long Island show, and I was freezing. And I complimented Ian on being smart enough to bring a hoodie. And he barely acknowledged what I said. That's fine, whatever. My bottom line point is to direct you guys to brettweisswords.com through this video. I put it on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook to give my side of the story, to explain it. I go a deep dive. I go into when I met Pat, me collaborating with him on his NES guidebook, writing some reviews for that. And I talk about some of the things they've said about me that are obviously very untrue. And I've had so many great comments from you guys on social media. I just really appreciate all the support. And hey, moving forward, I'm willing to let bygones be bygones, and I just want to at least be polite. Pat has said he doesn't want to be friends with everybody. He said that on his podcast, and that's fine. It's exhausting trying to be friends with everybody, especially if you do a lot of these shows, and that's fine. If they hate me, that's fine. But we're, just for the sake of show promoters we're gonna see each other at shows. We might as well be polite to each other. There's no reason not to. But I'm gonna try to do my best in that way, just out of the respect for the attendees, the vendors, and especially the show promoters who have me out as a guest. And so anyway, go to brettweisswords.com. I hope you guys will read that if you haven't already. Share that. I would really appreciate it. That would be awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. Thank you for liking this video. Thank you for sharing and subscribing to the channel and all that stuff. I don't typically respond to trollish behavior or social media insults and all that kind of stuff, but it just got to the point where I could avoid it no longer. They were saying things about me that were untrue and hateful for a very long time now, a few years now, which is a shame because Pat and I were friends for almost 10 years, and I've spoken to Ian a few times and always had good interaction with those guys up until recently, so it's kind of a bummer. But anyway, that is life. You know, you're not going to get along with everybody. But anyway, I try. So anyway, brettweisswords.com. I'll put a link in the description to that essay. I hope you guys will check it out. Thank you so much for watching. We will talk to you in another video.
It's me, Mario! Here we go!